Now we have another authentic anatomical model. This is a model of the shoulder, and the shoulder is very misunderstood in anatomy by most people, and believe it or not, a lot of surgeons do not know, in my opinion, the proper way of treating a shoulder injury. A lot of people, as they're growing up playing sports and whatever, you will tear the muscles on the shoulder, they call it a rotator cuff injury. And what happens when you tear the rotator cuff muscles, you sometimes also have a slight separation or a major separation of the shoulder. This is the humerus, a bone that goes up into the what's called the shoulder joint. The shoulder joint is a rather fragile joint. It's not as secure as the hip joint. Hip joint has like a cup where the head of the femur fits in nicely. This doesn't really have a cup. It has more of like a flat surface that the bone goes up against. And then you've got a lot of cartilage and tendons surrounding this, which holds it in place. So when you have an injury to the shoulder, this becomes damaged, the lumina, it's called. And unless that's repaired, you're going to have a loose shoulder joint, or, as in 99% of the cases, some people can't even raise their arm above their shoulder or carry any weight outside because the leverage is wrong in the shoulder joint. The shoulder sits high, the bone sits higher in the joint because of damage to it than on the left side. If you look at people who have rotator cuff damage, you will see one side is higher than the other. Why is that? Because the bone is sitting higher, because the support for it hasn't been properly repaired, and there aren't too many physicians who know how to do that or do it. They certainly didn't do it for me, which is it's kind of frustrating that I can't have full use of my shoulder because someone didn't do what they should have done. But that's what's going on out there. That's kind of a warning. This is the clavicle. This is the bone that oftentimes gets broken if you're riding a motorcycle and you take a dump, or a bicycle, or sometimes playing sports, football, whatever. The clavicle gets broken, and if it gets torn, if the musculature or the tendons get torn away from the bone, that's when you got a problem, because a physician really has to know what he's doing to put it back in the same place that it was and secure it. I've seen many athletes with a broken, what we call a collarbone, that it wasn't healed properly, and it'll be sticking up out of their shoulder because it's not in the right place. The clavicle is a bone that's injured very often, and very often it's not repaired properly. The same with rotator cuff muscles. So if you have a rotator cuff injury, you really need to be careful about who you go to. Some doctors don't even try to repair it. Some doctors don't know how to repair it. But it can be repaired, and you can get much better use than is the norm out there on this. But in any event, this shows the different musculature that holds the shoulder blade in place. And again, it's a good learning tool, and it's something to show the jury and to our clients.